the idea that our fates are intertwined is just like a fact of like our existence, you know? So
Hmm.
like that is, whatever we think about it is kind of irrelevant. But like ultimately, you know, we've been purposefully, yeah, as you talked about a system of capital and whatnot. I mean, I think it goes deeper than just a system of capital in terms of the harm that was done. Like, I
Hmm.
mean, if we think about what you said earlier, people can be in the same room, in the same environment, with the same upbringing, having a completely radically different experience. And the reason why that's the case is because of this implementation of a racial hierarchy. So, like, unraveling that, it definitely does affect everyone in various ways. But I think that economics doesn't really fully cover it whatsoever. And I
No.
just, and I don't think that you were trying to, draw a circle around anything. I'm just trying to say that, like, for our audience, I want everyone to know that the depth of the consequences of what was done in the uh, context, we don't really ever talk about it, and that's one of the reasons why I started this channel, is to have discussions about that. Um, I mean, it's at the level of life experience while we're standing right next to each other. I mean, I think that that is far more substantial than most people kind of consider, like what the implications of that is, you know? And so I just always like to bring that up because I think that because people don't fully understand the consequences, they see themselves as, I don't know, somewhat apart from the problem. In the
Hmm.
racialized white world, especially. And I feel like even like in the way sometimes people talk about it, they set them. It's as if like it's black people's problem. Like racism is black people's problem, and it's like that is like pretty much never been the case. Like we always suffer the worst consequences of it because of the way the hierarchy was built and the way the system of capital was built. But like it's really not our issue. Like it didn't start out our issue. It wasn't perpetuated because of us. It's still not being perpetuated because of us. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like, yeah, go ahead.
Well, and I think to a certain degree, what I was saying about culture, I mean, I do think that like whiteness is sort of like a substitute for like community and culture. It's sort of the absence of those things in a certain way. So I mean, I think you're right that I mean it is a problem for white people because, it's sort of gets at like why we live in such an alienated place, right? Because it's this piece of capitalism. I mean, it's like there's nothing wrong with like English culture or Swedish culture or like Irish culture. Like, there were real cultures there, that existed, that were in towns and communities and places in Europe and even here in the US. And I think, I think a lot of it's a loss of community, that like is interesting to try and reframe and rebuild.
Totally agree. Building community is key to pushing forward past these problems